Hey, this is another paid request for Jacob. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting pretty much any type of videos or topics, reviews, commentaries, reactions, whatever it may be, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. Now, this is for the Fall of Troy, which is another musical album. This time, their album is called Phantom on the Horizon. And I think Jacob sent in a request for one of these albums before of Fall of Troy. And it's a band I really can't get much into. I guess the best way to put it is just not my cup of tea. Now, from what I understand, this is an album that took the band like 4 years. Because they had done these demos before. But then they want to rework it and redo some of it. And ultimately, 4 years later, they came out with this bit of an experimental theme, because it's an album that's about 37 minutes long total, and it's kind of like in chapters. Like chapter 1 is called Introverting Dimensions, chapter 2, A Strange Conversation, chapter 3, Nostalgic Mannerisms, there's a chapter 4, there's a chapter 5, and it's trying to tell a story that I could vaguely barely understand. Because to be honest, I could barely understand some of the lyrics, so I had to look up the lyrics, and even then, it's like, okay, it's a Spanish ship meeting a ghost ship from another dimension, and then the boat gets wrecked, and then the guy's like going crazy because of the demon. She's like a siren and filling thoughts in his head. I did not like this album at all. I mean, if people like it, that's cool. People are into different things in different bands. It's like, there's a lot of people that hate Nickelback. I always like Nickelback. There are people that are tired of AC/DC and feel they're overrated. I disagree, and AC/DC is my favorite band. There are people who, well, no one likes Vanilla Ice, and I don't blame them. I don't like them either. I mean, they didn't go with any band. Limp Bizkit, I don't think was as bad people made out to be. You know, there's bands I like that are underrated, like Honeymoon Suite, and they've had a couple good songs that no one tells about, but Honeymoon Suite is an underrated band. Anyway, we're going off tangent. This, you know, maybe it's not as much screaming as they're used to, but when it gets into screaming, and like the chapter 1, you know, 4 minutes in, there's a lot of screaming. I can't understand what the hell's going on, especially when it's a story. And yeah, I read up the lyrics. Are you running from the rear? Are you really here? Do you know this is your blood? Now whine. Then the teeth in his mouth became knives. In the darkness of your mind, I'll stand by your side and remove all your fear. I'll eat you alive, my dear. And I remember reading it up, and someone talked about how the end of it is the way they explained it, because I was too dumb to get it, that the guy got out of it, he escaped, but then he survived by cannibalism, and then he went and found his wife when he got back, but then his wife cheated on him, so he killed her, and that's why it was about there's blood to the ceiling, and I'm sitting there going, what? I didn't get any of that shit at all. By the end of the album, it sounded like he died. That's what it sounded like to me. I'm just not a fan of this band. I'm not a fan of their guitar work, where it didn't seem like there's a great flow for me with the guitar work. Like, the guitar work I like is, I did an AC/DC, Aerosmith, some of the Metallica. Like, that's more of my guitar work I enjoy. This, that just like, and all of the fucking screaming shit. And there are bands that scream and I could deal with. Shout, shout it out. But this stuff it's just not my cup of tea. And it's just 5 chapters long. One of the better parts was when, for me, was in chapter 3 when there's a female voice. And that's the one where it's like, in the darkness of your mind, I'll stand by your side and remove all your fear. I'll eat you alive, my dear. And it was a female voice. I figured that, okay, that's the demon, female demon, whether enticing him or trying to get him to succumb. And like, was it a xylophone? Like a xylophone sound? I can't even. See, this is the thing, I'm not good with music. I'm not good at music reviews, period, so I'm doing my best. I mean, I can appreciate having an album where you're trying to, but again, I could barely follow the story. I had to look up the lyrics. Even then, I'm like, I'm not. When I grew up, listening to music, to be honest, I care more about the song beats than the lyrics. I gotta be honest on that. I mean, yeah, if there's a weird lyric, and or if it's a weird lyric, I would notice. If it was a catchy lyric, it would work. But a lot of times, it's the music, the beat that really carries me through a lot of songs. So and not taking music class, not being musically inclined at all. I couldn't play an instrument if my life had depended on it. Again, a lot of these lyrics, I try to understand how to read them on websites, and then I'm like, wait, okay, well, what does that mean then? Okay, what's the meaning of that? All right, so that's what that means. And I said by the end, it just sounds like someone killed him. So if it's about all the rest of the story, I didn't get at all. I did for something that seems like a horror based. I wish it was a bit more of a, I don't know, a horror feel to it. It's like, you know what, I would prefer either a synthesizer or you know what, I mean, Dance with the Dead. Like if it was Dance with the Dead, which is a band that has some really good synthesizer rock talents. They did wonderful covers of like the Assault on Precinct 13 theme, and they check out Dance with the Dead. They're very good, and like that stuff I prefer more. If it was them, they don't really do a lot of lyrical stuff. It's more just the instrumental music itself. This just wasn't for me. I apologize to the Jacob. It just wasn't for me. It was hard for me to get through. I did get through it. And I'm either getting confused or again the guitar work just wasn't for me. The streaming was getting on my nerves. It seemed like with chapter they tried to. They weren't just trying to be the same thing. It's like they're trying to be ambitious. A lot of people liked it, so yeah, give it a listen to if you want. I like everything. Find out for yourself. Don't take my word for it. Again, it's just. I apologize, Jacob. The band is just not for me. Just not for me. You know, I mentioned a bunch of the ones I'm more into. So. But you also understand, like, in my era, I'm growing up, the stuff I was into was soundtracks, like Rocky IV soundtrack. So, or, you know, the Thunder in Your Heart from Rad. Or, you know, scores like Vince DiCola, John Carpenter, Jerry Goldsmith, or, you know, 80s rock songs and, you know, stuff of that nature. So, you know, it's just maybe chalk it up to just different taste. So with that said, thanks once again, Jacob. Take care, and we'll see you guys later.